on our last meeting, we began discussing about Kamma, right? Okay. And then remember we had two important periods, two kalas. Remember, for when we talk about Kamma, we need to discuss all the time about these two kalas. Yes. Patisandhi kala. We can say Patisandhi kala or Patisandhi kana. And Pavati kala, not Pavati kana. Okay? Not Pavati kana. Kana is a moment, no? Patisandhi moment. Even when we talk about Chitta kana, it refers to all the whole until it vanishes, right? The Chitta arises, stands, and vanishes. That's the Chitta kana. But Patisandhi kana is just the arising moment. Okay? Just the arising moment. Arising moment of Chittas and Chittasikas. Chitta and Chittasikas and Rupa. Rupa is also included. And then all the rest until the vanishing of Chuti. Okay? So you have life, one single life. Only here we have Patisandhi moment, here. This is the Patisandhi kana. Patisandhi kala. And then all the rest is Pavati. Okay, until the vanishing of the Chuti. Okay, no? Then we had, remember, 4. Okay, first we discussed what Kamma is, no? But what are the 4? Show code for me. 4 tetrads, remember? Tetrads. 4 tetrads, remember this word tetrad? Chatuka. Chatuka. It's a group of 4. Yeah, tetrad. Okay. 16. Chatuka. And so it was, yes, we have according to function, right? Kicha, Kamma, Chatuka. Then we have Paka, Dana, Pariyaya, this is the longest name, Pariyaya, Kamma, Chatuka. Then we have Paka, result, Kala, Kamma, Chatuka, and Pakadana. Pakatana, sorry, Pakatana. Paka, I think maybe double T, right? Tana, Kamma, Chatuka, right? This, try to remember this. Kala and Tana. Kicha is the function, right? So Chetana, Kamma is Chetana, right? So it performs a function to produce result. Or these Chetanas, apart from doing the Chetana function, which, what was it? Remember? Ayuhana, Ussahana, willing to do the action, right? It organizes all the Chittasikas and gives orders, like a leader, no, in the army or something, like a general, for example, in the army. The general decides what the army will do. He wants to do that, right? And then he collects all the army units, organizes them, and puts them to work. Remember that? So this is a bit like Chetana, no? Chetana is the foremost Chetasika or foremost nama in general when it comes to performing functions, performing actions, seeing, hearing, doing, giving, killing, etc. So that's the function what Chetana is doing in that Chitta-khana. But then Chetana vanishes and it leaves this potential, this force, right? Kammasati. And then that has the potential, or that Chetana has the potential to produce results in the future, right? So then it can do it in these 4 ways, yes, in these 4 aspects of how this happens. So one is Janaka Kamma is according to function, no? Function we have Janaka Kamma, Upatambaka Kamma, Upapilaka Kamma, Upaghataka Kamma, or Upachedaka Kamma, no? And then when it gives result and where it gives result and things like that. So let's begin with the first one, no? Kitcha, Kamma Chatuka, the tetrad based on function. So we have 4 types of Kamma over here. One is the Janaka Kamma. Janaka Kamma. Janaka Kamma are all the Kammas that can produce something. Janaka is like producing, right? Yes, producer. So a Kamma that produces something. Here, what can Kamma produce? Chitta, Chittasikas, and Kamma Jarupas. Right? Not Chitta Jarupas, Utu Jarupas, or Ahara Jarupas, Kamma Jarupas, right? So Janaka Kamma produces, or is able to produce Chitta and Chetasika and Kamma Jarupa, right? Janaka Kamma. Then we have Kammas that are Janaka Kamma that can produce Patisandhi, and other Chetanas cannot produce Patisandhi, but they can only produce during Pavati. Only the stronger ones can produce Patisandhi. So for example, of the Akusala Chittas, only 11 can produce Patisandhi. The Uddicha Sampayuta, very weak with a strong Uddicha, just Ekahituka with a lot of Uddicha, cannot produce Patisandhi, but it can still produce some results in Pavati, right? So we'll discuss that later. And Janaka Kamma. Then Upatambaka Kamma. Upatambaka Kamma. Upatambaka Kamma supports. Yes. This one is different from the other 3. This one is different from the other 3 in the sense that it only acts upon a life or a being. A life or a being. What does it mean? The Janaka Kamma is producing Chitta Chittasikas and Kamma Jarupas. It's affecting a living being. Okay? But, for example, Upatambaka function can support a living being, or it can support another Kamma. Okay? So then it becomes more complex when we start applying these functions to other Kammas as well. So Upatambaka, one Kamma can support another Kamma, not supporting a living being, but supporting another Kamma to give result for a longer time, for example. Upatambaka Kamma, so it's a supporting function, supports a being, either a living being or another Kamma. Or another Kamma. Supporting function, yes, supporting function. Then we have Upapilaka Kamma. What? upapilaka. You're thinking about the Pali grammar, right? Pilana is like oppressing, isn't it? Yeah. Pilana is like to oppress. Push away. Obstruct. Yeah, upapilana. So this is an obstructive kamma, as the word says, obstructs. So this can also obstruct, obstructs, let's use the singular. Obstructs what? Obstructs a being. This means it causes difficulties, dangers, diseases, okay? It obstructs a being or it obstructs another kamma. It can also act upon another kamma itself, not the being himself, okay? So obstructs. Here, you have to remember these words. Produces, supports, obstructs, hinders. And the last one is upaghataka, also called upachedaka. This one, as it says, it kills, right? Or it cuts. So it kills, destroys a being, or it also kills or destroys another kamma. Another kamma here in the sense it's another kamma's ability or potential. Remember this word, right? Ability to produce patisandhi. Okay? Another kamma's ability to produce patisandhi. Kills. Okay, these are the important words. Janaka, upatambaka, upapilaka, upaghataka. Try to remember this. We have to, it's in this semester's content. So now a bit more in detail. So we can have these kitcha, these kammas, they can be kusala or akusala, right? Remember we have in terms of kamma, we have akusala kamma, we have kusala kamma. And kusala kamma we can divide in kamma vachara kamma, kusala kamma, rupa vachara, arupa vachara, kusala kamma. Okay. We'll discuss this later. Upatambaka. So a bit more in detail, like for example, Janaka Kamma, we can have it as Akusala Kamma. Let's make it here. Janaka Kamma. Janaka function, we can have it as Akusala or Kusala, right? Akusala Janaka Kamma. And we can have as a Kusala Janaka Kamma, right? Okay, Akusala Janaka Kamma can produce what? It's Janaka, so it produces Chitta Chitta Sika Kamajarupa, right? It can produce Chitta Chitta Sika Kamajarupa in Apaya, right? Sometimes it also produces Chitta Chitta Sika in Sugati, right? Kama Sugati, and 15 Rupa Vachara realms, except Asanyasata. Arupa realm, no results from Akusala Kammas. No Chitta Sika, and no Rupas over there, right? So you can have Akusala Janaka Kamma producing this. Then you can have Kusala Janaka Kamma producing also Chitta Chitta Sika and Kamajarupa. It in Apaya, yes, Chitta Chitta Sika in Apaya it can produce, right? Sometimes they have Kusala Vipaka Hetuka Chittas in Apaya, right? Huh? Rarely, yes, a bit rare, but when they see something good, for example, if the animal sees the Buddha, for example, then some kusala vipaka chittas, ahituka chittas arise, right? Yes. They also have 4 jnana vipayutta mahavipakas sometimes, right? So it produces in apaya, let's put over here, akusala janaka kamma produces in apaya, produces in kama sugati, and it produces in rupa vachara, bhumi. Okay? Here it produces all chitta, chitta, sika, chitta, chitta, sika, and kamaja rupa. And here it will only produce chitta and chitta sikas sometimes, right? Chitta and chitta sikas in the rupa vachara bhumi, except asanyasata. Except asanyasata. Okay, no? So these, when we especially over here, it produces patisandhi over here only. Patisandhi. Over here. It doesn't produce patisandhi over there, right? We'll see this actually again more in detail. So, it can do all this. Kusala kamma can produce it also in apaya, not patisandhi, but it can produce chitta, chitta, sika in apaya. And then in the kama sugati, in the rupa, bhumi, and also in the arupa bhumi, it can produce chittas and chittasikas, right? Here you will have patisandhi and all other vipaka chittas, right? When Brahma sees something, for example, then kusala vipaka chakku vijnana arises, for example. Then kusala vipaka chakku vijnana arises, then in the same viti, the sampatichana and santirana also must be kusala vipaka. They don't have tadaramana, right? But they still have these ahituka chittas, kusala vipaka ahituka chittas, right? Then, okay, this is a bit about janaka kamma. Now, upatambaka. So, upatambaka kamma supports, right? Double T, tambaka. Upatambaka kamma. So, upatambaka, let's see, we have akusala upatambaka. Akusala upatambaka kamma, okay? Akusala upatambaka kamma. It can act towards a living being, or it can act towards another kamma, right? So how does it act towards a living being? Oh, disappeared. Maybe I made many new pages. What did I do? Upatambaka kamma. Akusala upatambaka kamma, it can act towards a living being. A living being here we are using like a concept, no? But refers to that life. Or towards a kamma, another kamma. Another kamma, okay? Kamma never acts upon itself. Okay? Important. It doesn't act upon itself, right? So, it can, another thing is that a living being must have been born, but that life, particular life, must have been produced by another kamma, not this one. Upatambaka. So, a being born of another kamma. Born of, yeah. Born by. No, produced by. Born of. Okay? So, if it acts upon a being born of another kamma, it will support him. So this means, for example, it will bring good conditions so that living being, that life can extend. It doesn't extend your lifespan, but it allows that kamma to produce results for all the period it would produce results. Okay? This means like this. For example, we have a life. Okay? This life is produced by Kamma. Kamma number 1, for example, is a Janaka Kamma. Janaka. This Janaka produces here Patisandhi, right? Patisandhi. And it also produces here Pavati Vipakas, right? It produces Bhavangas. And it produces also the Chuti. Okay? So this main Kamma, Kamma number 1, is producing this. It's producing this life, right? Yeah. Welcome. Gambira. It's producing this life, right? Then it is able to produce a life of, let's say, 100 years, okay? Yes. But sometimes, depending on the conditions, it may not be able to produce all this life. Another Kamma may come and cut it. Or Upapilaka Kammas can disturb it. Right? So Upatambaka Kamma is the Kamma number 2. Kamma number 2. Now, this is the main Janaka Kamma. And then we have other Janaka Kammas, for example, Kamma 3, acting as Janaka, but not Patisandhi Janaka. We have the main Janaka. This is the number 1. And then we have other Kammas, Kusala or Akusala, producing during Pavati, producing Vipaka Chitta Chittasikas, Chakuvinyana. For example, we see something unpleasant, we see something undesirable, Akusala Vipaka Chakuvinyana arises, taking that undesirable object. That's also a Janaka Kamma, the result of a Janaka Kamma, right? So that's another Janaka. So we have many Janakas producing result during life. Okay? So we differentiate between the main Janaka Kamma, which produces your Patisandhi, your Bhavanga, your Chuti. It greatly affects your life, this Kamma. This Kamma number 1, it affects your character, mental states you have. It affects whether you have Tihetuka or Dvihetuka Bhavanga or Ahetuka Bhavanga as a human being. So it affects your ability to understand, and it produces your Bhavanga, and that Bhavanga limits your capacity in that life. You understand? You cannot attain jhana if your Bhavanga is Dvihetuka, for example. So your Bhavanga, or this Kamma in other words, really limits, really affects that life in which it is producing the Patisandhi. Okay? But then there is also many other Kammas that will produce the Janaka, but will produce Chitta Chittasikas. This one is producing Kamajarupas over here. Kamajarupas throughout life, you see? Kamajarupas, these are produced by this one. The other ones, they will produce Chitta Chittasikas. Chitta and Chittasikas throughout life. Okay? This is why you can have, for example, as a human being, we know this is a Kusala Kamma, right? Kusala Kamma producing this life. But you can have results of Akusala Kamma throughout life. Other Kammas, right? Okay. So this Upatambaka Kamma, for example, let's say this is Upatambaka. Upatambaka. This Upatambaka Kamma can do what? It will not produce Patisandhi or Bhavanga or Chuti. And it's not producing Chittas and Chittasikas. That's a Janaka Kamma. Janaka is the most important function, okay? Even all the Kammas that are accumulated, if we consider them as if they were individuals, if they were people, they are all trying to produce Janaka. They are all trying to be Janaka. Okay, that's the main function, the main most important thing. But not all of them are strong enough to be Janaka, to be producers. Okay? So this Kamma, Upatambaka Kamma, it might produce throughout life, not produce, it might support this living being, bringing good conditions. For example, you need, in order to live all this life, not only you need this Kamma, of course, but you need some support. So it will bring good conditions. Good conditions for this life to run its course until it ends. You see, it cannot expand your life, but it helps it continue until the end. Understand? So bringing, for example, food, medicine, shelter, things like that. Good conditions. Huh? Shelter? Shelter means like senasan. Senasan. Shelter, we say in English. Shelter is just a general word for dwelling, dwellings, places, shelter. Yes. Food, clothing, shelter, medicine. Okay? Sorry? Resident. Residence. Residence, yes, residence. So this is what this Upatambaka Kamma is doing towards a life. This is when it is acting upon a life, okay? So it will bring these good conditions and it will extend this life. So it can extend this life, Akusala Upatambaka, being born of another Kamma. Let me put this over here. This could be Kusala or Akusala Upatambaka. Let's put it like this. Kusala Upatambaka or Kusala Upatambaka. Okay. So it's producing these conditions to extend life. Okay. Extends life. Extends life. So this is normally spoken in terms of good results or a good supporting condition, such as bringing these conditions we already discussed, such as food, shelter, and so on, medicine when you need it, things like that. So it allowing the main Janaka Kamma to produce its results until the end, until it exhausts, okay? But sometimes Akusala Upatambaka Kamma also exists. It's not addressed so much. Addressed means we don't talk about it so much. Normally Upatambaka is Kusala. That's the most basic example of Upatambaka is producing those good things to help you live. But Akusala Upatambaka Kamma can also act upon beings in apaya. Certain beings in apaya, Upatambaka makes them live longer and increases their suffering. Yeah. So Upatambaka is not necessarily good all the time. Okay? It is normally spoken of as being good, as a good support. Okay? But sometimes it supports your suffering to continue. Okay? So this Kamma will make you live longer, okay? Extend your life. Or it can act upon another Kamma. This means one Kamma, it strengthens that Kamma. For example, another Kamma. It can strengthen, remember strength, the spelling is a little difficult, strengthen another Kamma. It can strengthen another Kamma. It can be Kusala or Akusala here. So if you have Akusala Upatambaka, it can strengthen another Akusala Kamma. So Akusala can strengthen another Akusala, and Kusala can strengthen another Kusala. You cannot have like this. Akusala doesn't strengthen Kusala, okay? This will not happen. But Akusala can strengthen another Akusala. For example, we have one Kamma that can produce rebirth in animal life. Okay? Akusala Kamma, it is able to produce rebirth in an animal life. Then another Akusala Kamma can do Upatambaka function and support it, and then it can produce in hell, for example, something worse. Do you understand? Huh? Upgrades, yes. Upgrades the other Kamma. Huh? Double? Something like that, okay. Multiplies its strength, its power, okay? So you can have, for example, akusala supporting akusala, kusala supporting akusala. Should I put this on the board? No, right? For example, this kamma number 1, let's say it's an akusala kamma, producing patisandhi on as an animal. Then kamma 2, this kamma can also act and support this kamma, you see? You understand? It's not the acting upon the being, but acting upon another kamma. Then it strengthens it, and then it is able to produce results in a worse realm, for example.
I think it's like we have two kamma, and is work together and become another kamma.
Becomes another?
Yeah, like the first can produce the result in for example, in
You can think in good term, for example, one kamma is able to produce as a human being, but in a low, poor family. Then another kamma can support it and leads to a good, more wealthy life, for example.
support that kamma.
Yeah. It doesn't become a new kamma.
Must become a new kamma.
Yeah.
But the result is changed.
Yeah, the result is greater. It is strengthened by something else. Yeah. For example, if you do, let's say you do one donation, then that donation is able to produce a human life, for example. Okay? But you keep on doing many donations, then when that particular donation, because only one of them will give result, right? When that particular donation is giving result, it can be strengthened by other kusala kammas that you have done, and it produces a greater result. But it doesn't mean that kamma 1 is supported by kamma 2 and they become kamma 3. No, not like that, no? Okay? So this supporting function can happen to the kamma itself, and it can be both akusala or kusala, okay? So you have already a few examples, right? Can make the bad result worse, can make the good result better, right? So this is the upatambaka function. Let me see if there's anything extra over here. Do you want to turn on the aircon and close the window? Just because it's a bit noisy. Okay, let's go to papilaka. So upapilaka kamma. Upapilaka kamma, on the other hand, obstructs also a being, obstructs a being born of another kamma, or another kamma. And then here, it's not only of the same nature. So you can have, for example, let's say akusala upapilaka. Akusala upapilaka kamma, it can obstruct a living being in sugati, a living being in dugati, or it can obstruct another kamma. It can obstruct an opposing kamma, for example, kusala obstructing akusala, and akusala obstructing kusala. Yes. So there is many combinations over here. So it can, akusala upapilaka can obstruct a living being born of akusala kamma. Being, okay, I'll put it as being in sugati, for example, sugati or dugati, and it can obstruct another kamma, which can be also kusala or akusala kamma, right? So if you have kamma here, for example, kamma 1, producing results, we have, for example, the kamma number 1, the most important one, producing patisandhi, and producing also during life results, right? Bhavangas and chutis. And so, and we also have other kammas, for example, kamma number 2 also producing pavati vipakas. Then we can come with another upapilaka kamma, upapilaka, and it can act upon this life, upon this being, creating obstructions, disease, loss, criticism, things like that. Okay? So acting upon a being. Or it can act upon another kamma, obstructing its result, weakening its result. Okay? So it's a bit like the upatambaka, but it's the opposite. The only thing is that here, akusala upapilaka can act upon kusala or akusala, you see? Different from the upatambaka. Upatambaka cannot, akusala upatambaka doesn't support kusala kamma. Understand? But here, akusala upapilaka can disturb another akusala kamma, or it can disturb another kusala kamma. Okay? So you have akusala upapilaka and kusala. Actually, kusala is not normally spoken, actually. Upapilaka, this is the most, the one we most talk about, akusala. So, kusala upapilaka, there is actually even a question over here. There is a kusala upapilaka mentioned towards another kamma, but not towards a being, towards a living being. Yeah, so kusala upapilaka here, disturbing another kamma, okay? Another kamma. This one is given, and a being is not given. No examples of this. Okay? Akusala upapilaka, we have it towards a being and towards a kamma. Towards a being, yes. And towards another kamma, yes. We have examples of these things. This is the, normally upapilaka is, we talk of akusala upapilaka. That's the normal discussion, okay? So it creates difficulties. Disease, things that don't kill you, but hurt you, right? Okay? And then it also obstructs or weakens the result of another kamma. So it can act on the main janaka kamma, kamma 1. It can obstruct this kamma 1. Or it can obstruct other kammas giving results. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Upagataka. Also called upachedaka, right? So this one kills. This one really cuts, kills. It can act upon a being, or let's say it kills. It kills a being born of another Kamma, born of another Kamma, or it kills another Kamma. Kills another Kamma. Okay? So if you have a life, a certain life, produced by Kamma 1 producing this life, then this Upagataka Kamma will come and cut it, interrupt it. Interrupt that. For example, this Kamma 1 would have produced 100 years life, but Upaghataka Kamma comes and interrupts it short. For example, you die of an accident, maybe, for example. Not any accident is this, but can be Upaghataka Kamma. Yes. Especially, for example, this Kamma of killing can do this Upaghataka function. So this is why killing leads to short lives. Right? Not sure what kills him. Yeah, he lives for like 7 days or something, no? For a short time. But I don't know what kills him, Bhante. I don't know if it's Upaghataka Kamma. I don't know for sure. But yes, his life is interrupted. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if it's, what is it? We asked this question already. Don't remember any very good answer for it, huh? Cannot produce Janaka Kamma. Yes. So Maggapala are Upagataka Kammas and Janaka Kammas. Okay? Okay, one principle I haven't mentioned is that one Kamma can perform multiple functions. Multiple functions, okay? So for example, the Magga, what I was talking about, Magga is a Kusala Kamma, right? Yes. It can produce Pala. So that's a Janaka function, right? Yes. And that Magga destroys other Kammas that would have produced result, for example, Patisandhi in Apaya. Yeah. So that's Upagataka function. You see? Doesn't mean Upagataka is a bad Kamma. Not like that. It's just that it destroys something. It destroys something. It kills something. For example, Kusala acting upon Kusala. For example, a higher jhana kills the lower. You understand? If you attain the first jhana, then that jhana has the priority to give result. So it will give result on your next life, right? Then if you attain the second jhana, then it will kill that first jhana's place. Yes. And then that first jhana will not produce result. You understand? Yeah, it destroyed that Kamma. In the case of the jhana can only be the Janaka Kamma. It will only produce Patisandhi. It will not produce other Chitta-Chittasikas during life. So if you kill it with another higher jhana, then it becomes a hosi. It cannot produce results. Yes. For example, so Kusala killing Kusala, right? kusala can kill akusala. Kusala can kill akusala. For example, this is here, no? Kind of like an example. Kusala killing akusala is, for example, kusala killing akusala. Okay, because sometimes there is with regard to a being, sometimes with regard to a kamma, right? So kusala killing akusala, if you think in terms of being, you know in Niraya? In Niraya, some beings, when they are born in Niraya, they come and they meet King Yama, right? Remember King Yama? And then King Yama tries to help them, actually, no? He's a good guy. He tries to help you. He tries to help you remember some wholesome deed you have done. Right? Then, if you remember those wholesome deeds, then that kusala can kill you. It kills you in Niraya and it brings you to Sugati. So that's Upagataka function, killing a living being, and Janaka function, producing Patisandhi. For example. Sharing merit? Yes. Peta sometimes rejoices in the merit that can kill him. It's a kusala kamma, killing that living being and producing a new life. Sometimes it kills but doesn't produce the next life. Also possible. For example, Devadatta, his kusala kamma killed him and took him to Avicii. Okay? The Sangabheda. But, now I don't know another example. But there are sometimes a kusala kamma kills you, but doesn't necessarily take you to apaya. Pachika Buddha, to become Pachika Buddha in the future, right? Yes. Kusala. So this one is all the combinations we have over here. So killing a being, for example, in Niraya, or killing another kamma, for example, kusala killing a kusala, for example, magga. Magga kills the akusala kammas that could produce patisandhi in apaya. Right? It kills it in the sense of the patisandhi janaka function. Right? So when we have janaka function, janaka function can be janaka to produce patisandhi, to produce a new life, or it can be janaka just to produce in pavati, you know? Not producing a new life, but producing results in pavati. Okay? So for example, magga kills the sotapati magga, kills the zupagataka function, upatambaka, patgataka. So magga can kill akusala kamma's ability to produce patisandhi. So that's a certain upagataka function. Okay? Let's see akusala killing akusala. For example, a higher anantarya kamma killing a lower one. You understand? If you kill your father, then that's anantarya kamma. It will certainly produce result. But then if you go and kill your mother, then that will take over the killing of the father. Remember this? We had anantarya kammas according to level, right? So anantarya kammas were matugataka, pitugataka, arahantagataka, lohitupadaka, sangabedaka, right? Sangabeda. Sangabedaka is the person who does sangabeda, no? Yeah, and then the order was this, no? I think it was Pitugataka, Matugataka is higher, and then Arahantagataka is worse, then Lohitupadaka is worse, and Sangabedaka is the worst. Yes, the worst, right? Yeah.
But some people, the Akusala, kill dead people, but then when die already, not produce for the next life.
Yes, yes.
Like Anoja, Puja, yes, Puja, or
Anoja?
Anoja Pita, Anoja and Raja Pita also.
So they were killed by Akusala Kamma,
Yes,
but they were born in Sugati.
in the Deva.
Yes. So I said this, no? I mentioned. I don't remember an example, Bhante just brought it up. That sometimes a Upagataka Kamma can kill you, but it doesn't necessarily performs the Janaka function for the next Patisandhi. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So something may kill you, but you can still be born in Sugati. You understand? Let me see if I have example here. For example, King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara, right? And the Queen Samavati. They were killed by Upagataka Kammas. They were killed by Upagataka Kammas, but they were born in Sugati. Yes. So Sotapanna Pugala sometimes may die because of an Upagataka Kamma, a Kusala Upagataka Kamma. But they will not be born in Apaya. Another Kusala Kamma will produce their Patisandhi, right? So this shows, this exemplifies that sometimes it kills you, but not necessarily takes you to the next life. Doesn't necessarily produce the next Patisandhi. Dusimara also, no? You know Dusimara? Dusimara threw the stone at the chief disciple, right? And then that Kamma killed him and produced result in Avicii, I think it was. No? So this one, Upagataka Kamma, and also the same Kamma produces Janaka Kamma. One Kamaka can do many functions. Can produce, can support, can obstruct, and can kill. Yes. Then Akusala Kamma destroying Kusala Kamma, for example. Here, let's put the last one. Akusala Kamma destroying Kusala Kamma. This one, for example, Nivarana. Nivarana destroying the jhana. If you attain jhana, then that Kamma has the okasa. Okasa. Dhammajota. Has the okasa. Then, if nivara arises, it will break that jhana. Right? It will break that jhana. Then that jhana will not be able to produce results. You can reattain it, but that nivarana breaks it. Nivarana destroys it. Okay? So that's akusala upaghataka kamma towards a kusala kamma. Okay? Okay, there's many combinations. I couldn't find examples for all of them, but if I have more time, I would like to do that. Even for myself, I was doing that, trying to find examples for all of them. Some of them, we don't have examples, like the upapilaka, kusala upapilaka. Yeah, I don't know how can, upapilaka is obstruction, right? So how can the kusala obstruct a living being? There is no example. For example, if you're in apaya and you get sickness, that's upapilaka, but it's another akusala upapilaka, not kusala upapilaka, right? So there is no example, I think, of kusala upapilaka towards a living being. Okay? But kusala can act as upapilaka towards a kamma. Yes. Okay. So these are the janaka functions. Sorry, not janaka functions. The functions, the kichas. So 4 kichas of kamma. What are the 4? Janaka, Upatambaka. What is in English? Janaka is producing. Yes, producer function, producing function. Supporting function, upatambaka. Upapilaka is the obstructive function, and upaghataka or upachedaka, which is the maybe killing or destroying or cutting off function. Okay. And then each kamma is able to do all these functions. Even the akusala kamma udacha sampayuta. That udacha sampayuta chitta, can it do janaka function? What do you think? Can it do janaka function? Yes, it produces results during pavati. It cannot do janaka function as patisandhi janaka function. Okay, janaka function is not just patisandhi. Janaka function is also creating chitta chittasikas during life. So it can do janaka function, but not patisandhi janaka function, the strongest one, right? Okay, remember janaka is not just patisandhi, okay? So even that udacha sampayuta can do janaka, can do patambaka, can do papilaka, can do upagata? I think so. Okay. Here we have some nice examples. Look, 3 types of upaghataka kamma. Okay, actually we discussed. Maganyana, magachitta is upaghataka kamma. Actually is the chetana, right? Chetana. Upaghataka kamma. Or maganyana is the upaghataka kamma. Then nivarana, destroying the jhana, is another type of upaghataka kamma, you see. We already discussed. And one kamma destroying the capacity of another kamma to produce rebirth. This is also upaghataka kamma. Okay? Even though it has not produced result yet, if the kamma has, okasa ladha kamma. Remember this? Okasa ladha kamma. Remember this? Okasa ladha kamma is the kamma that got the opportunity, that got the chance to produce result. So we have, for example, now, if we died, there is one kamma that will produce result, right? And we'll see now, according to the priority of producing result, either agaruka kamma, if not, achina kamma, if not, asanna kamma, if not, katata kamma. Yes. So they have this priority of producing result. So if the jhana, for example, is garuka kamma, right? So it has the priority to produce result. If you attain the jhana, then your next life, we can already know it will be produced by this jhana. So it got the opportunity. It has the priority. It's the first in line. Okay? So this, even though it hasn't produced result yet, if another kamma comes and removes him, this is upaghataka function. Okay? So you attain that jhana, it got the chance, okasaladha, but nivarana, for example, breaks it. Then this nivarana is doing the upaghataka function. Okay? Okay. Yeah, one thing I've already mentioned, but good to review, good to reiterate. You know this word? Reiterate. Is that kammas, they can do upatambaka, upaghataka, and upapilaka only towards a living being born of another kamma. Okay, I think that make this clear. So you have this 4 functions, kichas, remember? Janaka kamma producing life, a living being, producing chitta sika. Okay, these, remember, these three only act upon either a living being born of another kamma or act upon another kamma. Okay, so the last three over here act upon a being or a kamma. So another kamma, right? Let's put another kamma, it will be clear. So either a being born of another kamma or acts upon another kamma. Okay? Never acts upon itself. So this means that if we have, for example, here, the Janaka function, so Janaka is doing this, right? But for example, if Upatambaka Kamma comes, it can act upon this Kamma or it can act upon this being. But this Upatambaka cannot be this Kamma number one. You understand? This Kamma number one is producing the Janaka. It cannot also do Upatambaka for itself. You understand? Or for this being born of this Kamma. Okay? So this is doing this Janaka function, like this. It cannot do Upatambaka function for this living being. Okay? Must be a being born of another Kamma. Okay? Okay. Okay, let's go to the next. This is nice. Wait. Gati, Upadhi, Kala, and Payoga. So the kammas that get opportunity to produce result, they produce result based on four factors. Four factors. Huh? No. Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya? You mean Gati, Upadhi, Kala, and this? Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya? Not only Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya, but I think. Also past kammas are producing result affected by these four factors. Not just the Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya kammas. For example, Gati, you're in a good realm. Okay, let me put them here. Four factors that affect the results, okay? Four factors that affect the results. One is Gati. And then Upadhi. Upadhi, Kala, and the last one was? Payoga, yes, Payoga. Most important, actually, Payoga. So Gati, Sugati, or Dugati, right? If you're in Sugati, what does this mean? If you're in this Sugati, then akusala kammas have less chance to produce result. So it affects the results of kamma, you see? Sugati, depending on where we are born, then there will be more or less chances for certain kammas to give result, right? So this means that Gati affects the result of kamma. So if it can be Vipati or Sampati, if you're in Dugati or in Sugati. So in Dugati, for example, akusala kammas have much more chance to produce result. So there is much more suffering in dugati. Right? Because affected by gati, by the destination, right? Hmm? Yes, for example, if you are a deva or a brahma, then akusala kammas do not have much chance to produce result. They can a little bit. If a brahma comes to the human realm and sees unpleasant objects, for example, some akusala vipakas arise, you know? But it's very little, no? In comparison to an animal, for example. An animal, then the akusala kammas have a lot of chance to produce result. Nidaya, right? Can produce result, yes. In Nidaya, very difficult to have result of kusala kammas in Nidaya. For example, Venerable Moggallana once went to the hells, right? Then those hell beings saw Venerable Moggallana. So that's kusala vipaka arising. Kusala vipaka arising, right? But you see, it's rare, no? Most of the time they will have akusala vipaka chittas, as well as their patisandhi, bhavanga and chuti is also akusala vipaka. So all the conditions there, not only the gati, but the gati is there, influencing the results of kamma. Then the next one is upadhi. Upadhi is your appearance. Yeah, your sarira, your body. So, for example, a person with a good appearance, good-looking person, tends to have more chance for kusala kammas to give result. So you see, this affects a bit. Yeah. For example, Buddhas are good-looking Buddhas. So that also affects. And it also affects how other people perceive you, how other people will treat you, if they will offer things or not. We can see this. There are even, I think, psychology, for example, goes on this level. They investigate such things. How people treat each other based on how you look, how you dress, how you talk. For example, in America, just an example, if you talk like with the English of more like African Americans, black people, they have their own way of talking, right? If you call someone and you talk like that, they will treat you differently. Yeah, they might say no more easily. Yeah. Or if you speak like a well-educated white person, then people will say yes more easily. They will treat you differently. Okay? Or, for example, there was this study, they put a man, very badly dressed, on the streets. And then he stayed there for hours and no one talked to him. Okay? Then they took the same man, it was an actor, the same man, and he dressed him on a suit. Well dressed, shaven, okay? They put him on a street. Less than a minute. Somebody was, what happened? Hey, what's going on? You know? People were coming and trying to help him. Okay? So this upadhi, even here in the law of Kamma, this affects, our appearance affects, gives more or less chances for certain Kammas to produce result. Okay? So it's good to be beautiful. Right? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes causes problems, right? Yes. Sometimes causes problems, right? Okay. Kala is the third one. You can also have vipati or sampati. All of them you have vipati or sampati. You can put them like this. Vipati, yes, either vipati or sampati. So you, in the end, you have 8 factors, okay? So multiplied by these two. So you have gati vipati, gati sampati, kala vipati, kala vipati. Yes, right? Yeah. No result, yes. I don't see results. I suffer, or I do dana, but I'm poor. Yeah. Yes. Not enough. Need to wait for it to give result, right? Okay, so Kala is the period of time you're born in. Okay? Kala here is not Patisandhi Kala or Pavati Kala or any, not that Kala. The Kala is, for example, if we are born as human beings, for example, during a period in which there are good leaders, yes, the food is better, the weather is better, things like that. So this affects also Kusala or Akusala Vipakas. It will help. Okay, so Vipati would be bad rulers, for example. Even nowadays, if you're born in a country with bad rulers, then there's a lot of corruption, the money disappears, the people suffer, have to work a lot, but have bad conditions, for example. So all of this is a bit of what is within this Kala. Okay, Kala. Or if you're born during Chakravati Raja time, then the king is very righteous, nobody kills, steals, lies. Yes, people follow precepts, so people live longer, people are happier, things like that, no? So Vipati or Sampati. So not just the rulers, but also natural conditions. For example, nowadays our food is less nutritious than in the past. You know, for example, they took tomatoes. Tomato is a fruit that we reproduced a lot. We modified it a lot. Okay? Tomatoes are in general very modified nowadays. Huh? Yeah. Genetic modified. So they tested a tomato, like the most modified tomato nowadays. It looks very nice. It lasts very long, but it has less than half some of the nutrients than another normal tomato that looks ugly. Yeah. So, and this difference is just within a few years. You know, imagine even the Buddha time or even before that. So the food was certainly different. Okay, certainly different. Then affects our health, our energy, or everything. No? Even mental states affects. So this is within Kala Sampati, Kala Vipati. And then the Payoga is the most important because these first three, we cannot control, right? We cannot control. We can control maybe in terms of samsara, we can control it. In the sense of, for example, gati, we cannot control right now our gati. We cannot change that, right? But we can, by performing merits, affect the future gati, right? So in this way, we can control it to some extent by understanding Kamma, Kamma Vipaka, present life, right? But Payoga is directly under control, our Payoga. So this one we can control. This is actually what we have to emphasize on in one life. This one we can control. Control means, I mean, everything is out of control, right, as anatta. But you understand what I mean, no? It's something you can act upon and you can directly influence. So, Payoga, Vipati, would be performing unwholesome actions. This is Payoga Vipati. So it depends on your decision, depends on your mind, depends on your beliefs as well. So you believe in Kamma, Vipaka, and you perform many Kusala Kammas, then you're doing Payoga Sampati. Payoga Sampati. So this helps Kusala Kammas to produce results. For example, somebody lives an unrighteous life. Okay? Stealing, for example, lying. So there are more chances for akusala kammas to produce result from past lives. Not even kusala kammas from this life, from the past life. Okay? But if that person then now starts behaving virtuously, for example, righteously, then kusala kammas begin to have more chance to produce result. So Payoga affects the result of Kamma. Okay? So these four are nice. Even for Dhamma talks, as Bhante said, they are nice. They are quite explanatory, elucidating.
But some people they ask like this, some people this
Hmm.
He working in the killing.
Yes, killing, but they make a lot of money.
Yeah, make a lot of money and very rich.
Very rich. Yes, very rich.
Yeah, this yoga not good, but why the opportunity of kusala
Yes.
very more give the result.
Yes. Then, because it's not only this, no, we have to look at many things, right? Kamma and Kamma Vipaka is very complex. It's a very complex system, right? Very complex laws. So he's doing a kusala kamma now, yes. So that will certainly produce results, bad results in the future. In the present life, it can bring good consequences, remember? We discussed last class. Sometimes a kusala kamma brings good things, right? Remember this? This is why he kills and he becomes rich, for example. It's not the vipaka of that akusala kamma, it's just the consequences of that action. Maybe you steal a lot and you have a lot of money, yeah. But in terms of the future, akusala kamma only produces bad results. Then how can we understand him being in a good condition, even though in a lot of unwholesome kamma? Because he's experiencing results of kusala kammas in the past. Papoti pasati bradran, yes. Yava badran napachati. Yada chapachati papang, atapapo papani pasati, yes. Exactly, right? So the law of karma makes sense when you zoom out. If you just look into one life, it doesn't make much sense. It's not evident, right? But when you can zoom out, let's say into our samsaric movie, then you can see this clearly. And kusala leads to good results, akusala leads to bad results. So this is why, jati saranyana is helpful, for example, in samsara. Remember jati saranyana? Knowledge of past lives. Yes. And Pubenivasanusatinyana in general, or Jati Saranyana. Jati Saranyana is remembering past lives without abhinya. Okay, some people can remember past lives even without abhinya. Jati Saranyana. So this kind of helps you understand that there is past lives, and especially Dibachaku or Pubenivasanusati may help you understand Kamma Vipaka results and give you right view for you to do the right payoga, and then in the future have the right gati, upadhi, kala, etc. Right? So actually this knowledge in this chapter of Kamma can really, really, really change your future samsara. To some extent you can control your future. You can bend your future on the direction you want with this knowledge and with your actions. Right? Bodhisattvas, even though sometimes they are born in apaya, they're not always in control, let's say, but to some extent, with this knowledge and with all the merits they have done, they can to some extent keep being reborn in good destinations, right? For example. So much parami. Yes. Chandala sometimes, right? Yes. Dukkha. Yeah, you see? Yes. 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 Or even worse, no? Sometimes he's reborn in hell, right? Even though he has done many, many good deeds, sometimes the bad seeds produce results, right? For example, because so many lives, right? So in some lives he's not so into Dhamma, not so virtuous. Sometimes he's even committing like habitual unwholesome kammas, right? He's a thief or something like that. So then sometimes we have results, right? Bad results. Yeah. Samsara is very dangerous, you see? Samsara is very dangerous. This is good A good example for samvega. Samvega and dispassion. Viraga about samsara, right? Even with all those paramis, he is still suffering in samsara. Yes, already niyata bodhisattva. And already fulfilled, for example, many paramis. Yes. Yeah, dana parami. So many things, but you see, samsara is so dangerous. Yeah, still born in animal realm or as a human, chandala. Some conditions he's not reborn, right? He's never, for example, jachanda, jachabadhira, he's never those things, right? He's never in Avicii, but he can go to the other hells. So yeah, samsara is terrible. It's terrible.
Because of that, Buddha did not interest us to be Buddha, to be Bodhisattva.
Yeah, I don't see the Buddha encouraging anyone to become Buddha.
They encourage you
Yeah.
become Arahata.
Yes, the Buddha always, okay, put an end to samsara, put an end. That's what he's encouraging everyone to do. Do kusala, put an end to samsara. But there naturally, beings aspire to become Buddhas, Pachaka Buddhas, and great disciples, and chief disciples. And then the Buddha doesn't discourage, no, you should not do that. He doesn't discourage either. He supports them to achieve that. So I think this is also important. We should not discourage, but also not encourage. It's something that happens naturally. When he tells the jatakas, when he teaches about the paramis, when he, for example, he talks about the etadagas. When he gives etadagas, some people, by hearing that etadaga, will aspire to achieve that etadaga. Right? So, in a way, of course, he supports, but not directly. You should become bhikkhus. You should become Buddhas, something like that. He doesn't say that. But a person wants to become a Buddha, he gives support. He doesn't say, no, don't do that. Right? Why? Because more Buddhas know in the future. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it, right? So the same for not just Buddhas, even others, no? Savakas, even supporters, like Anathapindika, for example. Somebody aspires for that, right? Okay. So this was Janaka Kammas. Now Pakadana Pariyaya. This will be a bit faster, I think. Pakadana. Pariyaya. You know this word? Pariyaya. Pariyaya. Huh? Pariyaya. Paka. Paka is vipaka, right? Paka. Paka is vipaka, right? Yes. Paka or vipaka. Dana. Pariyaya. Not just dana. Okay? Also sila bhavana, I said. Okay, this dana here is not giving. Pakadana pariyaya is, in English we would say maybe the priority or the order in which it produces results. The order in which it gives result. Okay? Pariyaya dana paka. Pariyaya dana paka in English. The order or the sequence in which it gives result. Pakadana pariyaya. Okay? So if we took all kammas are one, according to its function, ayuhana, usahana, etc. And we divide it according to this, the order in which it gives result, it also becomes 4. So we have another tetrad, group of 4, right? So this is a bit faster. We have garuka kamma, heavy kamma, or weighty kamma. Weight, you know this word, weight, right? My weight, 73 kilograms. Okay, weight. Okay, so weight. So you make it an adjective by putting an I. Weighty, yeah. Many words you make adjectives by putting Y, right? So these are weighty actions, weighty actions. Weighty kammas, weighty chetanas. And then we have achinna, the name of my upajjhaya, achinna. Achinna, right? Tamanyan?
No, asana first, right?
Achinna, no?
But the order, the asana first, ajina. Asana.
Asana first, right? Yes, asana first. You're right. Asana first. Sorry, asana first. Long, no? Asana kamma. This one is a near death action. Right? Near death. Accumulated near death. Okay, then you have achinna. Achinna kamma. This is, let's put some colors over here. Make it nice. Achinna kamma is a habitual kamma, right? Habitual. Habit is a noun, right? Habitual. Not habity, okay? Not habity, habitual action. And then we have katatta kamma. Kata with a dot here, I think. Katatta kamma. Katatta, no? Katatta kamma. This is a complete or an action that has been complete, done. Kata is done, right? So a done deed, a done deed. Or how can we put it in English is usually I say a complete action that was performed. Performed actions. Perform complete actions. Katatta is a performed action, okay? Performed action. What? Done deed? Okay, you can call it done deed. A done deed, but nobody will understand you. Okay? I translate it as a complete action. Katatta kamma. Because most of them are kammapatas, right? Most of them are kammapatas. So kammapata is like a complete action. Okay, so what is garuka kamma? Garuka kamma is a heavy action, weighty action, garuka. Garuka, we have to go maybe faster. Let me try a little faster. Garuka. Garuka kamma. Garuka kamma. So garuka kammas, we also have akusala. Akusala garuka kammas and kusala garuka kammas, right? Okay, so what are they? These are weighty actions that have the first priority to produce result. They are the first in line. First in line to get the food. Okay? So akusala, we have anantariya kammas, right? Anantariya kammas, we have 6. Yes. So these are weighty actions. Okay, I think you already understand. Let's put them as pitugataka. I'll put them in order of weightiness. Pitugataka, matugataka, and then we have arahantagataka, gataka, and then we have lohitupada, and we have sangabheda. Nowadays we cannot do lohitupadaka, for example. Arahanta Gataka, maybe if we find an Arahant somewhere. Pitu and Matu, I think, are the most common, maybe. Right? Sometimes you may kill them, right? Maybe they make you angry or something, or they don't allow you to do something. Maybe you're a teenager, very rebel, and maybe you kill them or something. Yes, only after reciting the Sangabheda. Remember, Sangabheda, there were, I think, 9 steps for some Sangabheda. Yeah, this one is like this, as far as I remember. You must be in the same sima, and then you must join. You must have the Bedaka bhikkhu and at least 4 other bhikkhus, and then you must do Uposatha separately, or Vinaya Kamma separately, right? Yeah. So there are some preliminary steps for that. Sanghadisesa is before this Kamma. Yeah, before this Kamma. Now I certainly have it here, but maybe I don't want to go, like, I don't know if it will take time to find it. But do you remember? Okay, help me. Remember, there is the Sanghadisesa for the Sanghapeda is before this Kamma happens. Remember? Somebody, I think, he's going to do it, and then they perform the Sanghapeda Kamma, right? The Sanghapeda Kamma. The Sanghadisesa, the Kammavacha for Sanghadisesa, for example, they bring Devadatta, and then they do this Kammavacha. If he doesn't change his mind until the third Nyati and Anusavana, then Sanghadisesa, right? Yes. Then, if he continues and then he goes and within the same sima does the Vinaya Kamma, then it's Sanghapeda. So Sanghapeda comes later. The Sanghadisesa fence is designed to try to avoid the Sanghapeda Kamma.
But not yet the Sanghapeda. Yes, the first, when we start already 3 times is
Not yet this Kamma, yeah. Not yet this Kamma.
Yes,
Yes.
Can we done the Sanghapeda before Sanghadisesa?
Can?
Like a mind not recite the Kammavacha, so the Sanghadisesa not happen, right?
Yeah, the Sanghadisesa not happen.
Yes, but Sanghapeda
Can happen, no?
can happen. We separate and then
Separate and you do the Vinaya Kamma. So, but I remember clearly, not if we, let's say I take 4 monks and I go and I do some Vinaya Kamma by myself. Within the Sima, I don't think that's Sanghapeda. That's not Sanghapeda, I think. It's no, there are more conditions. It's a bit more difficult to do it. I'll check the conditions. There were conditions, right? Remember, there were some steps. First, the Bedaka Bhikkhu expresses his opinion within the Sangha. Then some people will start following him. They vote. He must have at least 4 followers. Then some more conditions. They must go to the Sima within the same Sima, and then they must do the Vinaya Kamma. I think, not sure it's any Vinaya Kamma. I don't know. But I remember it was not so easy to do it, right? Anyways, later we can, maybe for next class, if I can bring it, I'll bring it. So we have these 5, which are the Anantariya Kammas. Anantariya Kammas. Okay, Anantariya Kammas. And then we also have Michaditi over here. Michaditi. But this Michaditi must be explained. It's not any Michaditi. Yes. Niyata Michaditi. Niyata Michaditi. Niyata Michaditi, yes. These are not just any Michaditis, they are the Ahetukaditi, Akiriyaditi, Nattiditi. Right? And even these 3, they must be only very strongly held. For example, Michaditi we have Ahetukaditi, Akiriyaditi, Ahetukaditi, Akiriyaditi, Nattiditi. And only when they are very strongly adhered to. Or let's remove to anyways. Strongly adhered, okay? Actually, in English, better to. Strongly adhered to these deities. So the example is this. One teacher, if he's a religious or any teacher, even nowadays I think we could include some, for example, physicists. They also preach views. Not only religious teachers teach views, right? Also they have their own views. For example, there is only matter. There is no life after death, for example. Such Kamma doesn't produce result. The standard view in science nowadays, the modern, even within science, there are many branches, many different views. Yes, there are some scientists who do believe in the possibility of rebirth, for example. Some scientists believe in God, some scientists don't believe in God, things like that. But the mainstream, we say mainstream scientific view is that there is just matter, then there is no life after death. Right? That's the, let's say, mainstream views. So if you have someone who is finding many reasons, thinking deeply, and finding many reasons to justify a wrong view, and he comes to a very strong conclusion about this wrong view, then he becomes this type of Niyata Michaditi person. Okay? But if there is other people who just kind of follow it, they follow this teacher, for example, but they are not very strongly holding to these ideas, then it doesn't become this type of blockage. It doesn't become this type of niyata. Niyata means it will certainly produce result in niraya. Not even apaya, it's niraya. Okay? So here is someone who is strongly holding on to these views only. Okay? So maybe, for example, like a teacher, someone who really has a strong conviction, strong belief in this wrong view that denies Kamma result. So lots of wrong views. Common nowadays, I would say, but most people don't hold them very strongly. You know, some people may not be like that, for example, or they don't think much about religion nowadays, for example, just they're living their life, making money, things like that. They don't think about whether there is a future life or not, whether Kamma produces result or not, whether there is mind or not, things like that. So these views are very common, but not everyone. I think it's not that common to have it this strongly. Okay? So maybe teachers, people who teach about this. Okay? So these are akusala garuka kammas. They have the first priority to produce results. Here one difference is that anantariya kammas, they prevent you from attaining, for example, jhana in that life. If you kill your father or your mother, you won't be able to attain jhana in that life. Right? But Michaditi you may change. It's difficult, but you can change. Yeah, the problem with Michaditi is this. Michaditi is even considered worse than the others, because if you think in terms of samsara, you kill your mother, for example, yeah, it's a terrible thing, you go to Avicii, but then you're out of Avicii and then that's it. You know, it's terrible, but that's it. But Niyata Michaditis, they become a tendency, they become a habit. Then it's difficult to change and you keep on holding to them life after life. So then, wrong views lead to unwholesome actions as well. The view itself is unwholesome and it also affects your life, how you behave, your payoga, and so on. So then, it leads more and more suffering in the long term. Okay? So Niyata Michaditi is very bad. I think there is one sutta saying the worst thing is these ditthis. The worst thing, because are these miccha ditthis, and he refers to niyata miccha ditthis. These are the most blameworthy, I think, dhammas. Okay? So let's do kusala. Kusala. So from the akusala side, we have all of these. And then kusala side, we have the jhanas. Yes. Huh? So we have the jhanas. Magga? Were you saying magga? Magga, no, right?
But when you enter
Magga?
already born in the Sotana,
But it's not producing result. It's not producing the next life. For example, if you have a first jhana, that jhana will produce results, Garuka Kamma. Then you attain Magga. Does Magga break that jhana? No. Magga will not produce the next life. Right? Jhana is Garuka Kamma. Huh? Huh? Jhana? Aniyata, yes. Aniyata.
but can like this, can you put the more akusala kamma vipaka like ayuhana and anavite kamantaraya also can give result if you don't like
Can you repeat it again?
ayuhana upavada like
Ayu? Huh?
plan to
Upavada. Aryupavada.
yes and anavite kamantaraya
What is this?
anavite kamantaraya
Anavitaka? I don't know this. What is it?
you get offend the penyakit of the Buddha.
Ah.
Yes, that one. Kamma explained when you not go through apati desana or make the problem.
Ah, yes.
You give the result solely.
Yes. If you don't do, you have an offense and you don't want to do a patidesana, then that prevents you from going to Sugati. Yes. It's true, but how do you call it?
Also,
But I think it's not Garuka Kamma. It's something else, no? It prevents, it's a blockage. Yeah, antaraya. Saggavarana, maggavarana, right? Remember we have kammas, some are saggavarana, it prevents being reborn in heavens. And maggavarana, some prevent being attaining magga. For example, that believe in sasataditi is maggavarana, but not saggavarana. You can still be reborn in heaven with sasataditi, for example, or attaditi, things like that. But if you have niyatamichaditi, then it's saggavarana and maggavarana. So depending on the obstruction it is. No? Something like that. Cannot attain that jhana? Yeah, the jhana is aniyata. It will give result unless it is broken. Then it can be broken by nivarana, or I think it can be broken by a lack of practice. Yeah, it's in Garuka. As long as it is there, it doesn't mean it cannot be broken just because it's Garuka. For example, Pitughataka can be broken by Matughataka, for example. So they can still be broken. The jhana, the nivarana can break it, a higher jhana can break it. And even three things that break jhana, remember? There were three things that break jhana. I'll call them jhana breakers. Remember this? 3 jhana breakers. One was nivarana. The other was a higher jhana. And then was a desire to be born somewhere. So like an aspiration. For example, if you have the first jhana, but you have a clear aspiration to be born in Tavatimsa, then that can break the result of this jhana. This is another thing that could break the jhana. Its priority to produce result. So it's broken more easily, you see? More easily broken, no? The Anantariya Kamma, only a higher Anantariya Kamma breaks it. More easy, more difficult to escape it. Cannot escape, actually. No? So we have all the jhanas. So Rupa Vachara jhanas and Arupa Vachara jhanas. Okay? Then one thing here I think it's worth saying is if you have a higher jhana, it breaks the lower jhana, right? Then it has the priority to produce results, but this aspiration can help you be reborn where you want to be reborn. For example, remember the hermit Asiti? What was his name? Asiti? The one who saw the bodhisattva after he was born? And then... Huh? Asita? Asita, no? I think comes Asita to me. This hermit who had all samapatis in samatha, he met the bodhisattva as a baby. They wanted the bodhisattva to pay respect to him, but he ended up paying respect to the bodhisattva, right? Remember? And then he saw that he would become a Buddha, he cried. Remember that? Yes. His jhana was broken by Nivarana. Soka. Right? Yeah, his jhana was broken. His jhanas was broken. Then, why it was broken? Because he saw that he was going to be born in, he was going to die before he became a Buddha. And he didn't know how to change his destination. This he didn't know. He didn't have this information because he had Arupa Vachara jhana. So the Arupa Vachara jhana has priority over the other jhanas he had developed. So then he was reborn in the Arupa realm. Nivasanya Nasanyayatana. Then he reattained it. Yeah, reattained it. He didn't know that, let's say you have Nivasanya Nasanyatana jhana, okay? So that one technically has the priority, but if you really want to be born in the first jhana realm, for example, you can do that. Your aspiration, and you can practice the first jhana more, dwell in it, and have a clear intention to be reborn in the first jhana, then that will prevent you from going to the Arupa realm. Okay? Ababa Pugala, right? Yes. So that hermit was very wise, but he didn't know this information. He could have changed it. He could have been born, for example, in a Rupa Vachara Brahma, as a Rupa Vachara Brahma, and then met the Buddha and all that, no? But he didn't know, so he felt sad. Sadness overcame him, and then it broke his jhana. He cried. Huh? Yeah, it was a big thing. It was then he could not overcome that object, that situation, and then he felt soka. That soka broke his jhana. But then you can recover the jhana. Once you have developed, it's not too difficult to recover it. You just remove that akusala chitta, again pay attention to your objects, and you can develop it again, reattain them. So he was reborn in the Arupa Vachara realm. So we have 9 jhanas here, okay? Abhidhamma classification, 5 jhanas. 9 jhanas means there is actually 5 jhanas, right? 5 jhanas, but with the 4 arupa, inside the 5th jhana, you have 9 samapatis, no? 9 jhanas, or 9 samapati. Okay? So these are the Garuka Kammas for Kusala. Kammas, all kammas want to produce result, right? This is the main function. They want to produce result. So one of them will get the chance. One of them they will height, for the possibility of producing result, okay? Then the Garuka is the one that comes first. So if you have Kamma Vachara Kusala Kammas, for example, of Vipassana, or of Buddha Nusati, for example, but you have a jhana, then that jhana has priority. Unless the jhana is broken by these things. Okay? It can be overcome. Can be overcome. No, but the kamma is not just when you're doing it. This is the okasaladda kamma. You do the action, for example, of attaining jhana, okay, then the chetanas arise. But after you emerge from that jhana, now that jhana has the priority to produce result. And that's what you can break. You understand? That's what can be broken. The priority. It has the priority, is a Garuka Kamma. Even if you have done 100,000 danas, that jhana has priority to produce results. It's heavier, it's stronger, okay, those chetanas. But there are these things to take into consideration. A higher jhana may take its place, or nivarana, even though the nivaranas are suppressed, they will not arise easily, but if they do arise, then it can remove that possibility. Take that jhana that has the first place to produce result, it will lose that. It will be broken. In this sense, it will break. What is your, what do you find difficult to? Garuka, yes. Should be very strong. Sorry, someone? Father, yeah. Yes. So this one sounds like Garuka, right? The first one, the Anantariya Kammas. They make sense to you as Garuka, no? You cannot escape. Attains jhana once. Yes, yeah, it's like that. Here, Garuka means as soon as you accumulate it, it has the priority. You understand? That's the Garuka nature. Yes, as soon as you attain jhana for the first time, that's your priority for next life. That's the Garuka nature is not that it cannot be broken. That's not the Garuka nature here. The Garukaness, Yes, difficult to be broken, yes. It's difficult to be broken.
Jhana is if broken and then he died without jhana is also not Garuka.
He doesn't have to die in jhana. You don't have to be practicing jhana when you're dying. Not like that. The jhana is like this. There is the jhana that you attain. Okay? In that moment, you are in that VT and you're in the jhana. Okay? But when you have your mind stream, when we say a person has jhana, it doesn't mean he is necessarily in jhana, but in his mind stream has this capacity to enter jhana. Understand? It's like a power you have, an ability you developed. Okay? So what the Nivarana break, it will break this ability. Yes. So if you're dying with jhana, doesn't mean you have to die in the VT, for example. It means you have to die with that capacity to attain jhana. This is what is meant here. And the Garukaness, this Garuka nature of this Kamma, is that it has the priority to produce result. It doesn't mean it cannot be broken. There are strong Kammas, they can be broken sometimes. It can be broken sometimes. But if you attain the jhana, immediately it has the priority. That's what is meant by garuka. Okay? Yeah. And then, since the nivaranas are suppressed to attain the jhana, then normally, if you don't practice maybe for a long time, or if you pay attention to something and you with wrong attention, for example, then nivarana may arise, and then you can reattain it easily, but it can be broken at that time. But normally you attain the jhana, the nivaranas are suppressed, it will last quite a long time. That ability, that potential of your mind to enter the jhana, it becomes like available to you. No? Lost? Yeah, when we say that jhana is lost, means that ability, that potential was broken, was lost. Okay? So it can be lost with nivarana or with a lack of practice. Lack of practice can also, I think, remove that jhana from you. So then you can reattain it without much difficulty. Without much difficulty, you can reattain it. Developing it for the first time is difficult, very difficult. Okay? It's like, I don't know, developing strength, for example. Bodily strength is also something that takes a long time, for example. But once if the nivarana arise, like to the hermit Asiti, no? Asiti, I think it was the name. Then that potential is broken, the priority for a result is broken, but his mind stream has that, he has already developed it. He just needs to reattain it. Maybe he can do it in a few minutes. Okay? Doesn't mean he will lose all his concentration and it will take a long time to develop it like the first time, not like that. Okay? He can again attain it. For example, the bodhisattva has all jhanas and abhinyas in some lives, and then for some reason he loses them, maybe because of a woman, usually because of a woman. Then he loses his jhanas, his abhinyas, but then at some point he again pays attention to the kasina and develops it and flies away. Okay? Fast. Quickly he can recover that. Okay? Yeah. No, they just need that potential, like that ability to enter the jhana. You don't need to be in jhana before death. Yeah, before death you cannot have that viti, right? Yeah. So surely not before death. So it's just that ability. Like in the normal sense, when we say a person has jhana, he can enter that jhana. It's available to him. So that this is what is meant here. Then it will produce in the Brahma realm. Sorry? Normally you can? Ah, okay. Yes. Might be difficult to enter the jhana. Until it's quite strong, no? Yeah, so the problem is near death. For example, the pain will arise, things like that, depending on how you die. But the problem is here, if because of the pain, nivarana arises. I don't think just the fact that you have pain will break it. I think it's because it's difficult to maintain that ability when you're weak, old, and sick, for example. Okay. Yeah, this is what it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't. You find it strange? Sorry, I couldn't hear. Really difficult to practice. I wouldn't. Jhana is difficult. Only a person with great qualities can attain jhana. So it is a very strong chetana when you can develop it. So we cannot say jhana is easy. Sometimes, depending on conditions, some people might be able to attain it much more easily, yes. But we cannot say it's an easy thing to attain. Even most monks don't have jhana, right? Huh? Yes, paramis. Paramis will help, but jhana, you can only attain jhana with great qualities. Right? There are many conditions to attain jhana. You have to overcome very common mental states: lust, laziness, worries, and it's not just overcoming them for a moment, you're free from them, and then again you're back and you will have again these mental states. No, you have to overcome them as a nivaranan level on your mental stream. It's not just a moment you are free from nivaranas. The hindrances are suppressed, and they will not arise when you're not in jhana normally. They can arise, but they are suppressed on a santati level. So it's difficult to develop those qualities for most people. The Bodhisattva did, for example, with 7 years old, he attained the first jhana, right? Under that apple tree, rose apple tree, right? Jambu tree, right? But he has lots and lots of paramis. So jhana normally, the most normal experience is that it takes time. It takes time to develop for these dhammas to strengthen. Energy, you need a lot of energy. You need happiness. You need to develop happiness. You need to develop the jhana factors. You need to avoid unwholesome. Any dosa breaks it. So it's a difficult thing to develop. We cannot say it's easy. Difficult to develop it. So that chetana, you gradually strengthen the kusala dhammas in your mind until they become very strong. The hindrances are therefore suppressed. And then you will be able to enter that special rupa vachara chitta or arupa vachara chitta. And then that chetana is very strong. It immediately has the priority over the kamma vachara chittas to produce result. That's the garuka nature. Okay? But it can be broken. Okay? So this was garuka kamma. Asanna kamma is either performed or recalled before death. Performed or recalled. Here, nice is recalled. Not only performing, but recalling that. Actually, now our time is over. So next time I'll take from this kamma. Santavirya showed me the time is over. So actually, you see, here I don't have much information actually about now the next types of kamma. Asana kamma is a kamma done either before death, close to death, or recalled close to death. So here, interesting point is that if you do one kamma, for example, one kusala kamma, and you remember it many times, then if you remember it before death, it can be your asana kamma. Okay? Because if you don't attain jhana, then that's the next priority you have. And we don't know when we're going to die normally, so you don't know what will be the asana kamma. Okay? So recalling something, if you're dying, recall kusala dhammas, kusala kammas you have done, for example. This can help be an asana kamma. Yes. Even in front of habitual kamma. This I feel like when we were discussing this with Bante, he also felt like it almost feels a little bit unjust, unfair. You do something habitually for a long time, and then you do something bad before death, and that has priority, right? Looks a bit unfair, but that's how it is, okay? Something right before death has priority. I think at that moment it is stronger in your mind.
Because of achina karma is not strong enough. Because of habit is not strong enough.
Yeah, the asana is stronger than the achina. Yeah.
Because if he is strong enough, he can continue to the moment same kamma with the achina kamma and
Asana Kamma?
asana kamma could be same if
Yes, could be the same. Could be the same.
could be the same thing.
Same action, yeah. Same.
We make effort to
Yes.
do the same.
Yeah.
close to like for example, like cow in the say it's like the cow of the cow. Like this,
Cow? Cow pen? Where the cow stains?
Ho.
Cow. Okay, a cow.
Like
Or an ox.
very weak, not strong like this, but they stand near the door.
Yes.
But like when the open the door, they quickly go out.
Yes.
Go outside
Okay.
from this, for example, like
Asana
Asana Kamma.
Kamma?
In the book mentioned like this, but I got English.
So Achina is the cow? Or Asana is the cow? Asana is the cow. Yeah. I understood what you mean. So, okay, I'll put it in English, okay? So, imagine there is a cow pen full of cows. Full of cows. A cow pen, right? Full of cows. Then, even though a cow may be very weak, but if it's near the door, it will be the first to leave. It will be the first one to exit the cow pen when you open the door, right? That's what you mean, right? Yeah. So the Asana Kamma, even though it may be weaker than the Achina Kamma, but it is near death, so when you open the door, it can produce result first, right? Then, if there is Garuka, then it will take priority over Asana.
They can jump.
Yeah, the Garuka is a very strong bull. You open the door.
Even you
Yeah.
open the door, you can jump.
Okay, yes. Yeah, he's a strong guy. Okay. So yeah, we have to continue later. So let's stop over here. Now we have lunch. So would you like to come after lunch or not if there is no English class? If my throat allows.
If he come now, he can. If he don't come now, he cannot.
Which one has priority? Achina or Garuka? Huh? Whole morning? Yeah, he will come and check with you in the afternoon. You have class in the afternoon. Yeah, in Sunday morning, usually we need to wash and clean and stuff, right?